Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Brittney Monreal and I'm doing my informative speech on how to do CPR. There are two ways, hands only and CPR with rescue breaths. Hands only, you put one hand on top of the chest and by the breastbone, and you put the other hand on top of the other and you interlocked fingers, as well as you position your shoulders above your hands. Next, you have your body weight, not only your arms, and then you push straight down like 5 to 6 centimeters to 2.5 inches down on the chest. And then your hands will be on their chest, releasing compression, and chest will go back to its original position. As well as compressions will be repeated 100 to 120 per minute until the ambulance gets there. And then you, as well as when you call the ambulance, they'll go step by step on how to do CPR. And that's very important. If you don't know how to do CPR, I think you should get right on it, because CPR is very important. And then there's CPR with rescue breaths. This one, I'll be talking about it with adults, children, and infants. This is adults. They're pretty much similar, but when you're pressing down on their chest, it's with adults it's 5 to 6 centimeters to 2.5 inches, and then at steady rate of 100 and 120 compressions per minute will be the same as well with children and infants. If you're not confident doing CPR, then you should only attempt to do hands only. I mean, if you're not confident doing rescue breaths, then you should do only hands only CPR instead. And then with the compressions, it'll do every 30 chest compressions, giving 2 rescue breaths. Tilting the person's head and gently lifting the chin up with 2 fingers, pinching the person's nose, and then you seal your mouth against their mouth, and you give you blow steadily and firmly into their mouth for a second, checking their chest rises to, and then giving 2 rescue breaths. And then you do the same cycle, 30 chest compressions to 2 rescue breaths until the ambulance arrives. And then with children over 1 year old, you will do the same. You would tilt their head, lift their chin up gently, and then you will pinch their nose, sealing your mouth against their mouth. And then so their chest rises good, initially giving 5 rescue breaths instead of 2. So with children, you will give 5 rescue breaths. And then you will push down on their chest 5 centimeters, 2 inches, for about 1/3 diameter on their chest. And then chest compressions are really important. You will be using both hands if you are not able to do 5 centimeters depth, using only a hand. Chest compressions after 30, you will rate again 100 to 120 per minute, and then 2 breaths, and until the ambulance arrives. And then with infants over 1 year old, opening the infant's airway by placing one hand on their forehead and gently tilting the head back and lifting the chin. Remove any visible obstructions from the mouth and nose. And then you will um, you will place mouth over their mouth. You will place your mouth over their mouth, nose of the infant, and blow steadily and firmly into their mouth. Checking their chest rises. Give 5 initial rescue breaths. And then for the infants, you will push down by 4 centimeters to about 1.5 inches, approximately 1/3 of the chest diameter. And then use the heel of one hand if you can't achieve a depth of 4 centimeters using the tips of 2 fingers. After 30 chest compressions at rate of 100 to 120 per minute, and then give 2 rescue breaths. And then the cycle will go on again, 30 chest compressions and 2 rescue breaths until the ambulance gets there. And then I will be talking about ratio of breaths to compressions of CPR. Ratio 32 to 2 for basic CPR, that consensus of science and treatment for all infants, not newborns. And children and adults have a ratio of 15 to 2 of CPR that has been performed by 2 healthcare rescuers. For infants, not the newly born. Children that have a pause that requires between compressions deliver breaths 1 to 2 and are replaced by the previous recommendations of 5 to 1 for both people to rescue the adults, children, and infants. And then I will be going again over the 7 steps of CPR. Position your hands. Make sure the patient is lying on a flat surface, and interlock fingers. Give chest compressions. Open the airway. Give rescue breaths. Watch chest fall, and repeat chest compressions and rescue breaths. To give CPR if the person has a pulse. Should you give CPR to someone who has a pulse? Well, if an adult, child, or baby has a pulse but they are not breathing properly, you should perform rescue breaths but not compressions. Infants, give 1 breath every 3 to 5 seconds. No for infants and children. If the pulse is less than 60 beats per minute with signs of poor provision, start CPR. And that would be it, my references. But I also wanted to let you guys know that CPR is very important because there are 70 to 80% of cardiac arrest cases occurring either in the home or a public place. In such cases, the person nearest hand to the victim is often a bystander with no medical expertise, such as a relative, an office colleague, or a passerby. So it is very important to know how to do CPR. If you don't know how to do CPR, get right on it. Because I've been in a situation where I didn't know how to do CPR, and I was very scared that I thought my family member wasn't going to make it. So it is very important to learn CPR. And that is why I picked how to do CPR, because I've been in a situation like that. And I wouldn't want anyone else to go through it. So thank you for listening, and thank you for watching my informative speech.